Tip number one, long distance relationships are not sustainable forever. LDRs are like juggling while riding a unicycle. It's impressive, sure, but nobody's gonna be doing that for the rest of their life. A LDR is a phase, not a permanent lifestyle. Without a plan to close the distance, the recurring calls alone can make it feel like you're in a relationship with your airline and not with your partner. Let's just say you're visiting your partner every few months. Sounds romantic until you actually realize each trip is setting you back $1,000 to $3,000, depending on the flights, accommodations, visas, and other expenses. Now, multiply that by 2 or 3 trips a year. Throw in last minute emergencies, like needing to fly out unexpectedly, and it's not just expensive, it's overwhelming. And don't get me wrong, there are ways to save money on trips, and we'll talk about that in future videos, so make sure to subscribe to the channel for those tips. But even the most frugal traveler can't eliminate these recurring costs entirely. So unless you're wealthy, have unlimited vacation days, or live near a teleportation device, these costs add up. For the average person, this lifestyle simply does not work long term. Love might conquer all, but it doesn't erase credit card bills or the exhaustion of juggling flights, time zones, and limited quality time together. It's not just about the money. Consistently saying goodbye, sacrificing your free time for travel, and missing out on shared daily experiences take an emotional toll. Eventually, the logistics of keeping the relationship alive starts to feel like heavier than the joy it actually brings. Now, by recognizing that a LDR is temporary, you will have the ultimate goal to actually close the distance. Whether that means moving to the same city, finding a job near each other, or saving up to make the leap together. Love thrives best when it's not weighed down by financial and the emotional strain of consistently being apart. And hey, if you are not actively planning to see each other, are you really in a relationship? Or are you in a glorified pen pals with emojis? Visits are very important because it gives you something tangible to look forward to. They're like checkpoints in the marathon of long distance love. Without them, the relationship risks feeling stagnant. So always have a plan to go visit your partner, because it shows that you are serious about the actual relationship. It shows that you are looking into the future and you can see yourself with this person. It shows that you're putting an effort towards the relationship, and it shows that you can stand on business, and women like that. Now, I'm gonna give y'all a bonus tip. So every time I go and I visit my girl, I have a theme. Now, our first theme was all about testing the waters. Who are we in person? It was a mix of excitement and nerves. So everything that was planned was kind of planned around getting to know each other more, breaking the ice, and things like that. And so then you fast forward to the third visit, and we're navigating deeper conversation. What does the future look like for us? Each trip wasn't just about seeing each other. It was about building something. Now, one trip we planned to explore her city. I wanted to experience her world, the food, the culture, her favorite hangout spots. And by the end of that visit, I didn't just know her better, I understood her. So visits like that solidify your bond, and it reminds you why you're putting all of this effort into this relationship. Now, let me tell you straight up, in a long distance relationship, communication isn't just important, it is your lifeline. Think of it like this. If a relationship was a plant, communication would be the water, keeping it alive. No water, your plant withers. It's the same thing with your relationship. When you're apart, you don't have physical touch, spontaneous dates, or even those comforting nonverbal cues like a quick smile or knowing glance. But what you do have is your ability to talk and truly connect with words. That's why making your communication top notch is so crucial for a LDR. Now, in my personal opinion, one of the most beautiful things about me and my girl's relationship is we talk about literally everything, big and small, and just the freedom to talk about things and sharing things, not only your dreams, but your feelings, but even those little seemingly mundane stuff, sometimes I tell my girl, like, hey, I'm going to be working overtime for these next week. For the next 2 weeks, I need to, save up for a trip and things like that. And that may seem kind of boring, mundane, but this is important because it's not just about updating her on my schedule. It's about reassurance. She knows why I may not be as available as I once was. And she understands it because I'm prioritizing our relationship. Plus, it keeps her from wondering, why does it feel like he's pulling back? It's also okay to be vulnerable and admit things that might make you feel uncomfortable. Maybe when you had a bad day or at work, or you're feeling a little bit insecure about the distance, say it. Don't hold it back. When you can tell your partner anything, you build a strong bond that even the miles between you can't shake. Now, good communication isn't just about talking, it's about listening and being present in each other's lives. When you're consistently checking in and sharing updates, big or small, like we previously talked about, it shows that you are committed. It says, hey, I'm making the effort to keep you in the loop because you matter to me. So, for example, my girl, she knows my schedule very well. When I went and I visited her, she would mention, around this time, you'll be going to sleep. Around this time, you'll be getting ready to go to work. And so me being consistent with her, and that really showed me that she really paid attention or was paying attention to my times, to my schedule. And anytime I'm off on my schedule, she knows it. She may not say anything, but she knows it. A healthy LDR thrives when both parties can speak freely without judgment. If something is bothering them about the relationship or anything else for that matter, you should feel comfortable in bringing that up. But the only way to make that happen is by setting the tone early. I remember one time me and my girl, we had a disagreement about how we spend our next trip. We both had strong opinions, but because we built this culture of open communication, we worked it out without escalating it. We could talk honestly because we trust each other. If you don't create that safe space, little things build up, resentment grows, and before you know it, you're fighting about why somebody didn't answer a text fast enough when the real issue started weeks ago with unspoken frustrations. Remember, communication doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It just means you're trying. And if you're wondering how to keep communication creative, fun, fresh within your LDR, don't worry, I got you. I got videos lined up, so just make sure to hit that subscribe button. Gifts aren't just material things. They're symbols of love and thoughtfulness. And LDR, they're even more meaningful because they bridge the gap when you can't physically be there. A well thought out gift says, I see you, I value you, and I'm willing to put in the effort. So on my first trip to see my girl, I brought her a custom t-shirt with a portrait I had drawn of her. I was so proud, thinking, like, man, hey, we got one. We got one. I did very good on this gift. But then she handed me her gift that she got for me, which was a beautifully framed, hand-painted portrait. And this portrait, I mean, it was bigger than her. Like, that's how big the picture frame was. But It wasn't about who gave the better gift. It was about the effort and the meaning behind it. Every time I look at that painting on my wall, it reminds me of not just her. It reminds me of that moment that we both realized we were in this together, fully and completely. So in any relationship, problems are inevitable. Some will be minor, others feel like major hurdles. But when you're in a long distance relationship, how you approach these problems matter even more, because communication, remember, is your lifeline. Challenges are going to come in all shapes and sizes. Because of the distance, others because of simple reality of two humans trying to coexist. It's crucial to understand that these issues aren't always anyone's fault. They're just a part of life. How you deal with them, however, can make all the difference. Now, one philosophy that I have found to be very good at this is, I coined it us versus the problem mindset. This approach shifts the dynamic from blaming each other to working together. It reassures your partner that no matter what, you're on their side. You both want the same outcome, and that's to fix the issue. When you approach problems this way, your partner feels supported, confident that they can bring any issue to you without fear of judgment or anger. Now, in contrast, a you versus the problem mindset. This mindset creates division and makes your partner feel isolated and sometimes even ashamed, as though the issue is entirely their fault. This isolation can lead them to shutting down emotionally and becoming hesitant to share future problems. Without open communication, unresolved issues grow and eventually strain the relationship. Now, how do you apply the us versus the problem mindset? Now, first of all, you need to acknowledge the problem without blame. Say, we're in this together. Let's figure this out. Let's figure out how to fix it. Discuss solutions as a team. Involve each other with brainstorming ideas, even if the problem seems one-sided. Reassure your partner. Remind them that no problem is too big to tackle together, and that your relationship isn't at stake because of it. For example, let's just say you and your partner have a communication hiccup, a missed text or misunderstood message. Instead of reacting defensive or placing the blame, use the us versus the problem mindset. Talk about what happened and why, and then find ways to avoid it in the future, like setting clear expectations or being more mindful of each other's schedule. This approach fosters trust and makes your partner feel safe sharing challenges with you, knowing together that you can tackle anything. After all, an LDR isn't about being perfect. It's about being a team also. Now, I can't lie, an LDR is challenging, but with the right mindset, plan, and effort from both partners, they can be incredibly rewarding. The key is closing the emotional distance, not just the physical one. But before you start, you need to pick the right person. I've heard too many stories of people doing the right things for the wrong partner. Make sure your potential partner is a good fit for you and ready for the challenges that a LDR brings. In my next video, I'll talk about how to properly vet somebody. So check out my next video right here on how to properly vet your partner.